family has experienced some pretty epic meltdowns. And with some tools in hand, we have seen what would generally be a massive meltdown become but a little speed bump that we can navigate without upset. And that's why I'm excited to share with you Uncovering the Mystery of Meltdowns. All behavior is communication. And what I want to tell you is that we use some of these very tools and are seeing some great success. In case you haven't heard, I'm Jamie Kirkbride, founder of Parenting with Personality and the Heart Work Club. I am co-author to the Yuzu, a children's personality assessment and parenting resource. I'm a speaker, personality trainer, parent coach, and licensed professional counselor. But my favorite role is being mom to 7 special blessings. While I bring a good deal of experience with my education and work experience, I will be transparent enough to share that some of my best learning has happened at home, where I navigate some of the very same issues that many of you face. Perhaps you have a child who struggles with mood, anxiety, anger, rage, or consistent emotional dysregulation. That can be a hard course for them, for you, and for your entire family. In this video, we will cover some general information about meltdowns. This information is important to understand, as oftentimes there are some misperceptions and myths surrounding what meltdowns are all about. This video is for you if you have a child who has a personality that is strong-willed and unfiltered, a personality greatly affected by their surroundings and stress, a tendency to exhibit drama or make a loud scene when they're unhappy, or struggles with anger, rage, or upset regularly, a child who experienced the challenge of emotional dysregulation due to sensory overload and or anxiety, or a child who struggles with mental health issues that tend to affect their emotional regulation, such as ADHD, DMDD, or other mood disorder. Oftentimes, parents feel hesitant to bring up their child's meltdowns. They may feel embarrassed by their behavior or how their behavior may reflect upon them as parents. They may also feel the judgment of others and how what they're attempting just appears to fail. I get it. It's a tough road, but let me tell you now, you are not alone in this journey. Numerous parents are facing these same struggles and need to find resources, guidance, and support. And when you decide to help yourself in these ways, you help your child and entire family. And that's why I'm here, to help and support you. In this video, we're going to cover differences in meltdowns and tantrums, the relevance of tracing back behaviors to understand meltdowns, the importance to understanding triggers for meltdowns, some key things to remember during a meltdown, and things that need to happen after a meltdown. Let's take a look first at some of the differences in meltdowns and tantrums. Meltdowns is typically a behavior that it's a function of being dysregulated. Tantrums, the behavior is typically more controlled. In meltdowns, the child is often unable to answer or respond in order to communicate effectively. In tantrums, the child is usually able to respond and communicate in ways that generally make sense. With meltdowns, the interaction is packed with an overwhelming amount of emotion. In tantrums, the interaction has a clear goal or desired outcome. You might say a purpose. With meltdowns, the child is generally overwhelmed by something that is happening. With tantrums, the child generally feels a sense of frustration or upset over the way things are going. In meltdowns, the child is often unaware of what happened even after the meltdown. With tantrums, the child is usually aware of what is happening both during and after the tantrum. Both meltdowns and tantrums have some similarities, though. They are both communicating a need. They can both sound or look irrational. They might be difficult to understand, They both can point to lagging skills or things they haven't really learned how to do yet. And they can tend to be exhausting for parent and child. But remember, they are both communication. There are some similarities, there are some differences, but more than anything, I want you to remember both are communication. In dealing with tantrums, you may decide to ignore the behavior, as sometimes this is a quick and easy way to disengage from a power struggle. You might distract the child with something else that may cause them to lose their intent focus on the struggle and shift their emotion. You might find a calm spot to let the child work through their emotion and just simply acknowledge the issue or feeling. You might use a when-then statement, such as, when you eat your dinner, then you may have a sucker. Those statements work best if they're consistent, fair, and clear. You may offer choices or sit near your child and simply model emotional regulation. If you're putting those iHeart steps to practice, you'd work through those. There may be times when these options, or a tight hug, a task or an activity, or clearing the environment from others, is enough to keep a child from escalating further. However, many times, that is not the case. So what do you do when you're facing something bigger? That's why we're here today, to talk about the bigger and more intense issues, meltdowns. And remember, the biggest thing to keep in mind is that meltdowns are communication. It may feel like your child is giving you a really hard time. The truth is, your child is having a really hard time. It helps me to think of a meltdown as a full body response to feeling and or being overwhelmed. They tend to be more extreme, and children are not usually in control of them. They can feel more complicated and complex to figure out. I believe that being both preventative and prepared are keys to handling meltdowns. So much of what we deal with will involve learning about your specific child. You may or may not have taken time to do this before, but it is essential to start feeling some success in overcoming these meltdowns and finding your calm confidence. One of the best tools in being prepared and preventative is learning how to trace back from a typical meltdown, or as we will call it here, when the storm erupts. Yes, it can oftentimes feel like a tornado or a hurricane. If you were to trace all of the signals and things that happened from the storm backwards, what other behaviors would you be likely to notice? The loud and obvious ones that happen during the storm are easy to identify. Start there, but then I want you to go back when you might catch the cloudy signals, and then just a little further to even the very earliest warnings. What might you find? Take a look here at the Calm Care Plan. Your child may exhibit a few or several of these. Try to look at this as objectively as you can. It can feel a bit humbling or even humiliating to admit that your child is displaying a behavior that you're not okay with. I get that. You may feel that it portrays you as a poor parent, but can I encourage you to just put that aside and remember that behavior is a communication for something, and in this case, something very big and very intense. It will be helpful for you to separate their behavior from you. They're communicating a need, and it helps you to keep that first and foremost in your mind. As you start paying more attention to behaviors, these little tells you'll probably notice more of those and start paying attention to things that you hadn't before. I've included a blank copy for you to fill out the specific behaviors that you see in your child during storming, cloudy, and calm. The things you notice, and later on, what you might do, or your tips or plans for that stage. Think through that recent incident and see if you might catch some of those very earliest signals. What are some of those common cloudy warning signs or tells? They might include trouble thinking, making a decision, or expressing themselves, getting stuck on certain thoughts or ideas. In our house, we call that looping. It might be choppy or erratic responses. Maybe your child is unable to be flexible or cooperate. They attempt to hide. They're unable to be still. Physical illness complaints like a headache, dizziness, pain, tummy ache. Attempts to limit stimuli such as sounds, sights, smells, tastes, or even movement. And then those behaviors may escalate to storming level, where your child may begin kicking or hitting, biting, destroying things, attempting to run away. You may notice that their voice changes, their jaw becomes clenched. Maybe their eyes start looking different. Maybe they have thoughts or threats of harming themselves. And some children even exhibit a super strength. These are the more noticeable behaviors. But take time to go through all the boxes and don't skip that calm box. It really is important. You will want to pay attention as well to what your child does when they're getting calmed. These are equally important for you to notice as they signal when you might move ahead in your plan according to what they're able to tolerate or what they may need. These will be the signals that help you navigate the last couple steps of the iHeart approach and also are useful in helping you reconnect with your child. Another thing that is important to learn as you work to become both preventative and prepared are your child's triggers. What are some common triggers? Could be sensory or emotional overload, unexpected circumstances, unfamiliar people or things, a change of plans, fear, pain, certain times of day, specific routines or tasks, going places, unfamiliar settings, or anxiety. I have included here a list of some common stress triggers. For younger children, this may jog your memory as you think through past incidents and figure out what might be those potential triggers for them. For children who are old enough to discuss these, I highly encourage you to ask them for their responses. It will serve two purposes, both to show you how in tune they are to their triggers, as well as identify things that you may have never known or thought about. The simple trigger list is provided in the parenting resource list on the app, but I will also include a PDF chart version, which might be helpful for IEP teams or school staff, or for your family in general, and that will be included among the iHeart membership resources. Obviously, this is a topic that we could devote hours of time and still have things left uncovered. But I want to provide to you a useful and concise video that can help you figure out a couple of the most important aspects of handling meltdowns. And I would be remiss to not include a short blurb about you in all of this. Why? Because you are the only one who can truly control you. You only have control of yourself. You control your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And believe it or not, your thoughts determine your feelings, which determine your emotions, which drive your behavior. And when there is trouble in that loop, you will struggle to help your child with what they need. Additionally, a child who is needing help regulating will have little to no success learning to regulate if the adults in his or her presence are not able to model being emotionally regulated themselves. As long as you are dysregulated, you can almost bet that your child will match that. So it would be crazy to not devote some discussion to what you can do to help you. In iHeart, we devote a whole step to this, but in short, I want you to remember to take inventory on what is going on for you. What are you thinking or feeling? Are you feeling disrespected, stressed, embarrassed, humiliated, or worried? Do you fear that you've failed in some way? Do you feel like you should know what to do, but you don't? Maybe you panic. Are you hungry, tired, or hot? Yes, even those basic things can affect us as parents. Are you feeling triggered? Now, triggered may be a whole new idea for you. What does being triggered really mean? It might mean that you are feeling an emotional or physiological response to something happening, possibly even subconsciously. What might be causing you to feel triggered? It could be a number of things, including remembering a similar incident that ended poorly, this situation relating to a past trauma in your own life, feeling like you can't breathe or think clearly, feeling out of control, taking things personally and feeling attacked, feeling embarrassed, or feeling a sense of guilt or shame. These are just a few. You may come up with something that isn't even included here, but we need to achieve calm if we are going to help them find calm. What might be some ways that you can begin to feel grounded, anchored, and calm? Different things work for different people. So don't be afraid to try a few of these out. You might visualize something. You might have a photo you recall or that you keep handy to hold. You might do some slow and purposeful breathing exercise to calm. You might try repeating a helpful calming mantra, such as, I can do this, or one step at a time, or this isn't about me, or I'm here to help my child. Maybe you just picture your child as that newborn baby that really needed you. You choose what is most effective for you, but then practice it. This is an important step to helping you and your family achieve that calm confidence. All of these things you are taking inventory of are essential in understanding how to make your calm care plan specific to you and your child and family. Knowing what to watch for, listen for, and wait for can be key in helping you navigate the struggles you often encounter. You can make a calm care plan specific to the needs of your child. And if you have more than one child who has emotional dysregulation issues, you may have a couple plans, and that's okay too. For those of you who would like additional help in this area or specific steps to walk through, you might enjoy learning about the iHeart approach and the additional help I can give members within that membership group. Monthly question and answers, additional templates and graphics, and personal feedback might add that extra level of support that you feel you, your child, or your family may need. But here are some key things for you to keep in mind as you begin to make your calm care plan. We all experience flight, fight, or freeze mode. I know there's a couple other versions of this that have added some other words, but we're really just focusing on the fact that we have this response to threat that happens without us even choosing for it to happen. A child who struggles with emotional regulation can be thought of as getting stuck in this mode. In fact, if you have a child who struggles with a mood disorder, such as DMDD, it has been likened to constantly being stuck in this mode, unable to really get free of that feeling of threat. I'm sure you can all imagine how exhausting that would be. It is also important to remember that just as your child is having a response to flight, fight, or freeze, you may be having a response as well. Yet another reason that it is important to calm yourself, so we don't have two people responding out of impulse and fear of threat. Did you know that during emotional dysregulation, scientists have found that we can actually lose up to 30 IQ points? I thought that was kind of interesting when I read it. It wouldn't be very helpful to have both parent and child struggling to think. So try to keep your wits and your mind about you and choose calm. As we're thinking about a child who is feeling threat in their environment, it is important that we remember to reduce stimulation. That may mean turning down the lights or quieting things in the room, maybe even clearing the room of other distractions. If you're able, take the child to a quiet place. However, if your child is unable to relocate easily or without added upset, just clear others from the room instead. That is oftentimes the better way to go. Be mindful in these moments of perceived threat about issues of space, proximity, and positioning. A child who is interpreting things through the lens of threat will perceive you standing between them and the door as being trapped. If you are too close or towering over them, they will continue to see your very presence as threatening. Seek to find a position where you can both be safe and non-threatened. This is one of the reasons that a plan should be made ahead of time, while you're both calm and you can both think really well. You may not realize how your child perceives these things until you discuss it. And what you decide might need to be tweaked if you find it doesn't work the first time through. And that's okay. Discuss and adjust as needed. You might even find that the side of you can serve as a trigger to your child in the middle of a meltdown. Please don't take it personally. You are simply the person involved, and they need some time and space to let their brain calm down so that they can respond without being so harsh and sometimes hurtful. Some have found that a seated position around the doorway might be a good way to provide safety for your child. You can still be available should they call, and yet it serves as some distance to not continue triggering them. You will likely find it hard to not respond to your child with explanations and rationalizations, but don't. It doesn't work when your child is dysregulated. They can't reason or rationalize, and chances are great they won't even remember what you say or what they said. So just pause and wait. Use this time to give them space and find their calm. During this time, you can go through those things that help keep you calm, and then think through your next step when things are quieted. I encourage you to print out the pages of the Calm Care Plan as well as the stress trigger list. And remember, these are found in the app under Parenting Resources. These will help you as you construct a plan for your child and family for tackling these difficult moments. Spend some time thinking about what you need to feel prepared, calm, and ready should something erupt. Plan what will be said and done, and maybe even avoided. Think about where each party will be and how they will get there. Even take time to plan that code word that might indicate for others when they need to clear the room for everyone to feel some peace, quiet, and safety. Our code word is up. It reminds those in the room to get up and go to your rooms or to some quiet place, maybe even downstairs. They know an older sibling can help them once they're there, and what family member they can even call if they need support while I'm with the child in need. This planning allows everyone to feel that their needs have been considered. We've also addressed that there may be times we call in an older sibling, say one of our teens. Should I need to go be with a little one, or the dysregulated child needs more space from me because I've been involved? In this way, they are also prepared and ready with what to do, what to say, and even things to avoid. If or when others can't step in, the plan can just be stay out of sight and near enough to keep safe. And remember, silence will be the best at this point. Don't try and talk. Just let things simmer and calm before you even try to begin to process. Which leads me to the last part of this discussion. What do you do after a meltdown? That is important too, you know. The coming back together and reconnecting is key. So take time to plan that with your child and family too. What will you do to reestablish your connection with that child? What will you do to reassure them of your love and your desire to help? How will you help them get back with the family when they're ready and able to do that? These are important parts of the plan. If you look back to the stormy, cloudy, calm sheet, you will be watching for some of these calm signs to reappear. You may also find that your child is very tired out and exhausted. That is to be expected. Keep these things in mind. Avoid processing the incident and wait, maybe even until the following day. Offer reassurance and calm. Don't rush things. Keep things simple. Few words. Limit times they have to make decisions. Wait until later to talk about making things right. And avoid that shame and blame. There have been nights when things in our house ended really tough with our emotionally dysregulated child, and he may not have been ready to do the reconnecting with the family before bed. We would take these opportunities to at least connect with the other kids and express that it's taking some time for that child to calm down and move ahead, but that everything is okay. You might share something that helps give them that peace of mind that both you and the child is okay, and that tomorrow we can all be in a different space. It helped our kids just to hear when that other child was able to accept a hug or make a joke or just sit and talk. This can reduce the anxiety of siblings who experience this disruption often. In more ideal times, you will be able to come back together as a family and talk or spend time together, maybe even play a little game, read a book, or something that can help the calm feelings return for everyone involved. We have sometimes even been able to get to a point where the dysregulated child wants to make things right and correct something that may have been said or done that is hurtful. Do not push for that. But if the child is able or desiring that, it can help bring that layer of peace for the child and others in the family as well. Now, don't forget, your child is not going to process these situations as they happen. Maybe not in an hour, maybe not 6, maybe not until tomorrow night or even another day. That is okay. Wait until they're calm and ready to talk if you want to be effective. When you do, remember to keep that tone calm and caring if you want them to open up and try to share what might help in future situations. Answering with, that might be something for us to try next time, or I'm willing to try what you think might help, are ways for you to convey that you value their insight and perspective. Even if you think the plan will flop or fail, be open-minded and willing to try and rework it if it doesn't. Your child might need to see ideas they suggest not work before they're ready to try other solutions. This is a collaborative approach to problem solving with your child. This approach will begin to show them that you care and want to understand. It will increase connection and help grow trust. Ultimately, these are the things that will help your child in any relationship. Remember, they are having a hard time, and you have been placed in their life to help them through it. There is no pressure to do it perfectly. In fact, that really isn't even possible. Parenting can be messy. Meltdowns can feel damaging, but the way you choose to grow through them can make all the difference. Choose calm, confident, and connected. It just might be what makes the difference in your child's life and in your relationship with them. I do understand that parenting is tough. While it is a joy, it can also be a heartache at times. I am here to help and support you however I can. I hope the resources in this video today can shed a new light on things for you. Perhaps you can try some new approaches. And as I mentioned, there are more resources available to those who want or need more direction or support. All of the principles from this video can be found and downloaded on the free app. Use the web address parenting-with-personality.passion.io, or keep checking in the app stores as it is in the final stages of approval and will appear there where you can download it for iOS and Android very soon. Be sure to check out the free course and the iHeart intro video in the Parenting with Personality app. And feel free to connect through the Parenting with Personality Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and if you have questions, please feel free to contact me. I will connect with you and give you some resources specific to your situation and give you some helpful feedback if that is what you need. Can I leave you with just a couple thoughts? You are positioned as the person who can make the biggest difference in the life of your child. You can do this, and you don't have to do it alone. This can be the start of something great. It's time for Parenting with Personality.